A lot of photographers waste insane amount of time learning photography in the absolutely wrong way. And the annoying part is that it feels super productive while you're doing it. I know, because I did that for years. But after more than a decade behind the camera, I can tell you this. Photography gets a lot simpler once you stop obsessing over the wrong stuff. So my friend, give me just a few minutes and I'll show you the things that took me years to finally understand. Alright, so here's something that took me embarrassingly long to fully understand in photography. So my friend, have you ever seen an absolutely jaw-dropping photo from a pretty average location? Or maybe you've even been somewhere amazing yourself, pulled out the camera, and somehow the photo just didn't look that epic at all. I know that I have, and the reason is usually pretty damn simple. It's light. You see, a great location in boring ass light will often give you a pretty average photo, but an ordinary place in its beautiful light can look super dramatic, moody, and just epic as hell. I mean, a lot of my best photos that I've taken throughout the years are just shot close to my house. And it's just because I looked out of the window, I saw that the lighting conditions were just absolutely gorgeous, and I just knew in myself and in my core that I just had to get out there. Like a few weeks ago, the conditions were just mad. Everything was frozen, the trees looked completely crystallized, there were these like low clouds that were rolling through the valley where I live, and I just quickly grabbed my camera, hiked up to a mountain that's close hereby, and it was like -12 if I remember correctly. And then when I was on top of that mountain, there was even a rainbow as well. I know, absolutely ridiculous. And the thing is, those moments, they don't come that often. So when you see that super beautiful light, you need to get your ass out there and use it, preferably with a camera. Because once this makes sense and it fully clicks in your head, you'll stop asking yourself, where should I go? And you start asking, what is the light doing right now? That, my friend, is a massive shift, because a lot of beginners, they think that the location is the problem. And I'm here telling you that a lot of the time it's just the light. By the way, if you want more photography help from me, then I send out free weekly emails. They're short, fun, easy to read, and packed with value. If that sounds interesting to you, then you can find that down in the description down below. However, my friend, even with good light, you can still ruin the shots pretty easily. And that usually comes down to this very next thing. You see, a lot of beginners think that better photos come from fitting more into the frame. More stuff, more detail, and more things competing for the attention. Because when you're new, everything just feels important. So naturally, you try to include all of it. And then you look at the photo and it just feels messy as hell. And nothing is really standing out. There is definitely no clear point, and that is a massive composition problem, my friend. You see, I've noticed that composition gets overcomplicated all the time because people hear the word composition and instantly kind of think it's some sort of mystical art school thingy. But really, a lot of composition is just helping the viewer understand what matters. And in my Icelandic experience, I don't know if it's Icelandic, but in my experience, strong photos often come from subtraction rather than addition. You understand? You remove things instead of adding it. Basically, what I'm trying to get to here is that keep it simple and ask yourself, what is it that I can remove? What doesn't need to be here? What is distracting in this frame? And what is pulling the attention away from the actual point of the photo? You see, a strong photo, it usually has a clear point, and a weak one usually has too many things fighting for attention. And once you start seeing that composition, it becomes way less mysterious, because now you're not trying to make the image more interesting, you're trying to make it clearer. A big mental shift. However, even with good light and cleaner frame, a lot of people still makes this next mistake all the time. So, a lot of people treat photography like this super reactive thing. You see something nice, click. Somebody walks in the frame, click. There is cool light, click, click, click. And yes, that is a lot of fun, and sometimes that is just absolutely a part of it. But very often, a strong photo starts before you even press the shutter. Like, for example, this photo right here. I was up in the mountains here in northern Sweden. It was a beautiful day. Blue sky, everything was frozen. And to be honest, normally I'm not a huge fan of this kind of harsh mid-light sun and this lighting condition that we had. But while I was out there on the snowmobile, I noticed this little rock that was just standing up from the snow in the middle of nowhere. So I stopped and took out the camera, and I started to think to myself, what is it that I can actually do with this? I saw the sun, and I saw this massive empty space, and I thought it could look pretty damn sick if I placed a person there in the frame properly on the rock itself. So what I did, I framed it up, I put the camera on the tripod, I set on a timer, and then I made these footsteps and made them act as a leading line, and then I walked into the shot. I then did a few tries. I had the camera on interval shooting, aka time-lapse modes, and I made a few poses, and boom! I ended up with a photo that I really like. And that, my friend, is the whole point. Good photographers are often not just reacting, they are building the image first and then waiting for the moment that completes it. Basically, that could be a person stepping into the frame, a change of light, a cleaner composition, whatever really. The pressing of the shutter button action, it is the final step, not the first. And it does not have to be some epic grandmaster plan either, you know? Very often for me, it's just taking a few extra seconds before pressing the shutter and asking myself, what am I actually trying to do here? How can I make this cleaner, and is there a story here? Because once you start working like that, your photos, they feel way less random, way more intentional, and way more like you actually meant to do that thing, you know? And it feels just like, you get those when people see them. Now, unfortunately, even when you get better at all of this, photography still has this next super annoying habit of humbling you, at least it humbles me, on a regular basis. Alright, so this is the part a lot of people don't love hearing, but it is very important. You see, most photos, they fail. And I don't just mean as beginner photos or beginner photographers, I mean literally everyone has photos that fail. You see, you can go out and have a great shoot. You feel absolutely amazing, you're on top of the world, you feel like you got something special, and then you come home, open up the files, and you realize, yes, wonderful. Most of the photos are rubbish, maybe a bit soft, bad timing, and there's nothing really special. Cool. And my friend, that feeling, that's just a normal part of photography. It happens to me all the time, but online, of course, you mostly see the winners, and you see the one and that frame that really worked. What you don't see is the 876 weird little goblin frames that are standing behind that one winner frame. So when you're new to photography, it's very easy to assume that good photographers, they just nail it all the freaking time. But the truth is, they don't. They just have a better hit rate. Plus, they're usually just out with their camera more. And that is the real game. Improvement is not getting to some magical stage where every photo that you take is just absolutely amazing. It is about slowly raising the percentage of shots that works. That's it. And my friend, mistakes are a part of it. Matter of fact, mistakes, they can often teach you faster than success does. By doing a lot of mistakes, you start seeing patterns in what can be done better. Maybe you rushed too much. Maybe the timing was off. Maybe the photo, it never really had a clear idea to begin with. And that's hella useful. The more mistakes you do, the more you shoot, the better you will become. You see, failure, it's not a proof that you suck. It's just a proof that you're in the process. And the reason this matters is because a lot of people think improvement comes from some big breakthrough moment. It usually doesn't. It comes from this next thing. By the way, all of the photos and videos that I'm showing you in these videos are all edited with my own presets and LUTs. Now, the best part is that they're super easy to use. They speed up my workflow tremendously, and every pack comes with a dedicated video tutorial. So if you want the look and you like it and you think I look super good here, or if you just want your editing to feel a bit simpler, then that's linked down below. And better yet, I've actually bundled together all of my digital products. I'm talking all of my presets, LUTs, templates, overlays, everything, and you can currently find that at a big discount, and it's also linked down below. So one of the by far slowest ways to improve at photography is waiting until you feel inspired, or waiting until you feel creative, or waiting until you get to a cool place, or maybe even waiting for the stars to align for your artistic spirits to awaken like some Scandinavian wizards of sort. It's just slow, because real improvement usually comes from repetition, from carrying your camera with you a lot, from shooting more often, from using normal everyday life as practice instead of waiting for some magical moment. That, my friend, is how your eye gets better, and that's how all of this starts feeling more natural. Basically, I try my very best to always carry my camera with me, even if I'm just out walking with the baby stroller or whatnot. Like this photo right here, it's nothing special, I was just outside of the house, but I wanted to practice more midday lighting conditions, which is something that I feel is a bit alien to me. And the thing is, sometimes when I'm out doing this, I capture something cool, but most of the times I don't. But every single time I get to practice, and one very common question I get is, how do I find my style? And honestly, this is where your style starts showing up. It's not from trying to invent a style, it's from repeating the process enough times that your preferences started to reveal themselves. Basically, by shooting a lot, you start to notice what kind of photography you're drawn to, what kind of light is it that you love, and what kind of framing feels good to you. And that stuff shows up through repetition and not just through waiting to feel inspired. You see, the photographers who improve the most are usually not the most inspired ones. They're the ones that keep showing up, and they shoot on normal days and not just on the inspired days, if that is even a thing, inspired days, but you get what I'm trying to say. Basically, they keep doing the reps, and that, my friend, compounds big time. Because in the end, better photography usually does not come from one massive realization. It comes from the small things that you do over and over again without really thinking about it. Which means that if you really want everything that we just talked about to fully make sense and click up here, you need to understand these 10 habits that silently transform your photography in 2026 and beyond.